Clearly, the work of missionaries has been blessed. Surely the impact of the mission activity of the various branches of Christianity began to shape the worldwide picture of the church. Can you describe that change?
Well, David, I think if I could adequately describe that change, I'd probably be famous. The fact is that the changes are so many and so profound that probably no one person can really get a handle on all of them. For starters, without that 19th century age of missionary work, especially the Protestant missionary work, we probably wouldn't be able to talk about a worldwide picture of the church, as you put it in your question. In other words, Protestantism very well would have remained a European or American phenomenon, and largely a phenomenon among Caucasians. If I were to ask you what race is a Protestant, you'd probably think that that's a nonsensical question, because of course Protestants are all races. They're white and black and Asian and Hispanic, and how can you answer a question about that? In the year 1800, if I'd ask you the question, what race is a Protestant, it would be a pretty clear and concise answer. Protestants are white Europeans. The fact is that our whole image of the church, the way we imagine the church, has changed dramatically, partly because that age of Protestant missionary work was so successful. I believe actually Roman Catholics have been quicker than Protestants in recognizing this as a theological fact about the church. That namely, when we confess in the Creed that the church is Catholic or universal, we're also at the same time implying that it includes and embraces a wide diversity of cultures. That if the church is Catholic, it's also diverse in terms of culture and language. The church lives and works and witnesses and worships in a huge variety of cultural contexts and settings. And we become more vividly aware of that as the church moves out into the world. What happened in that century of missionary work is that the vision of Revelation 7, of people from every tribe and language and nation under heaven, all gather in worshiping God on the last day, that vision has become a more vivid reality to us in a way that was probably unimaginable for most Protestant Christians 200 years ago. That reality of the global character of the church, and at the same time the cultural diversity of the church, is much clearer to us today than it was, say, to David Livingstone, that we've talked about a little bit. Livingstone thought that he was bringing Christianity, and that was equivalent to bringing the benefits of civilization and commerce. And of course, civilization in his mind meant English civilization. To be civilized was to be as much like the English as you could be. And commerce meant commerce on the economic model of the European powers, and preferably in a way that would benefit the European powers. David Livingstone, for all his contributions, was very Eurocentric. His world was centered on the assumption that European Christians were superior in virtually every way to other peoples in the world, and it was their obligation, therefore, to help bring the rest of the world up to their level. Well, one of the biggest ways in which our thinking and view of the world has changed is that we don't always imagine today that the church will always and everywhere look and act pretty much the way we do. For us, I think, to be Christianized is not the same as to be Americanized. And I'm sure some of you taking this course understand that that in very concrete terms, whether you're working with a diversity of races and languages and ethnic groups in an urban setting, or with some minority in another community. To be Christianized is not the same as to become Americanized. We're more appreciative of the global diversity of Christianity than that early generation of missionaries, but we're aware of that because of their work. That's one of the most profound ways that this 19th century of Protestant missions has changed the way we think about Christianity today.